Good morning, it's June 17th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. Well, this past weekend, Israel launched a preemptive attack on Iran in both its nuclear capabilities and its military leadership. It was a well-planned attack designed over a year-long effort to secretly put in place the weaponry and drones to make the attack successful. And it did succeed. There is no doubt that Israel has the more potent military. They are well-trained and have the more modern weapons. The Israeli Air Force is battle-tested and was able to strike their targets with precision. They took out the Iranian military leadership and began to take out Iran's missile launching capability. Israel has made just over 250 strikes in Iran, where Iran has only been able to hit Israel about 70 times. And according to the Israeli military, precise intelligence from the IDF allowed Israeli Air Force fighter jets to strike a structure in Tehran where several senior officials from Iranian intelligence were located. The strike eliminated head of intelligence organization Revolutionary Guard Corps Mohammad Kazemi, his deputy Mohammad Hassan Mahak, head of the Quds Force Intelligence Director Mohan Bakri, and his deputy Abdullah Nikosi. The IDF, at least that's what the IDF told us. But early this week, Israel basically had complete air superiority over the skies of Iran. And that leaves Iran and Tehran defenseless. Israel continues to take out missile launchers in Iran, and it becomes meaningless for Iran to say they have all these missiles if they lack the capability to launch them. It's interesting to note that Israel has made its attacks more precise, aiming at military and energy targets. They've avoided civilian areas. On their other side, Iran is simply firing missiles into civilian areas with the hopes they will cause enough damage and casualties the people of Israel will demand a halt to what Israel is doing. They are, in my opinion, whistling in the wind. The population of Israel is well aware that what the Iranian threat is to their country, and a nuclear-armed Iran would pose an existential threat to their very survival as a nation. The result of this Israeli attack has forced Iran to do what most have previously thought was unthinkable. Iran has been urgently signaling through back channels that it seeks to end hostilities and a resumption of talks over its nuclear programs, sending messages to Israel and the U.S. via Arab intermediaries. One of its biggest fears that Iran has is the U.S. might join the attack, and that would spell doom for the current regime. With Israeli warplanes able to fly freely over the capital and Iranian counterattacks inflicting minimal damage, Israeli leaders have little incentive to halt their assault before doing more to destroy Iran's nuclear sites and further weaken the theocratic government's hold on power. The problem with Israel stopping now is it would give Iran breathing room to regroup, to try to rebuild their missile launching system. It would also give Tehran time to see if international pressure campaign could arise to force Israel to back off. That's exactly what happened with the Palestinians. More importantly, Iran has to find a way to keep Israel from acquiring the bunker-busting capabilities that the U.S. possesses. This is because the majority of their nuclear program is deeply underground in constructed bunkers to prevent them from being attacked. It will certainly be a test for Democrats in Washington. There's a strong likelihood that the Palestinian protesters will now turn their support to Iran because of their anti-Semitic beliefs. Israel remains the strongest ally the United States has in the Middle East, and there will be some in Congress that will condemn Israel's attack on Iran. The G7 put out a statement affirming Israel's right to defend itself, and of course Iran expressed its outrage. Quote from Iran, G7 leader's statement has really disregarded Israel's blatant aggression against Iran and the unlawful attacks on our peaceful nuclear infrastructure, as well as indiscriminate targeting of residential areas and killing of our citizens. End quote. That's kind of laughable. They ignore that Israel has not attacked a civilian center while Iran launches missiles at Israeli civilians. They say nothing about the terrorist groups they've been funding to attack Israel. They say nothing about the constant barrage of verbal attacks calling for the elimination of Israel. What the G7 statement said, quote, we also affirm the importance of the protection of civilians. Iran is the principal source of regional instability and terror. We have been constantly clear that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon, end quote. That didn't sit well in Tehran, and they're going to have to figure it out. Perhaps if Israel retaliates to start bombing downtown Tehran, the people of Iran will start to realize what this militant Islamic State has brought upon them. We're already seeing evacuations in the center of Tehran. What you might see now is Iran come running to the negotiating table over their nuclear ambitions. For the Western nations to agree to any deal, it would have to be a complete cessation and dismantling of Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities. It would have to include international inspections on a regular basis. But this might be the only way to preserve the theocracy that's been established in Iran, and I'm not sure in the long run ending that kind of rule might not be a better option. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.